Hi, everyone. This is Dugan Bridges with Popdoc Podcast. I'm excited because we have today Melissa Dowler, the director of Nothing Compares, and also Julian Stefani, her subject on the documentary from Erotic City, which is a Prince tribute band. Thank you for both of you joining us today. It's good to have you.
Thanks a lot. Happy to be
Much.
here.
Thank you very much for having me. Yeah,
So,
thank you.
yeah, the first thing I got to know is what inspired you, Melissa, to make the film about Julian and the tribute band?
Well, in 2016, when Prince passed on, I was really taken aback by how sad I felt. I hadn't known him personally, but his music had been such a part of the fabric of my life. He'd been such an inspiration to me. And I just became really interested in the collective grief that seems to be so widespread after his death. And a few weeks afterwards, I was on a getaway weekend with some friends. Um, oh. A few weeks afterwards, I was on a getaway weekend in the Oregon coast with some friends, and I actually saw Julian's band Erotic City perform. And I had actually seen Prince in concert. I think people were almost as excited, if not more excited, to see Erotic City in this small pub on the Oregon coast. Just seeing Julian's passion and the way he channeled Prince and added so much in terms of his own musical talent. I said to my friends afterwards, wow, I'm fascinated by that guy. I think I have to reach out to him. And I was really hoping that through the process of learning about Julian and his story, it would give me an opportunity to kind of explore my own feelings around the loss of Prince and the grief I was feeling. And it definitely did, and a lot more.
I got to be honest. Growing up, I didn't understand what or like why people loved Prince, and then I was watching the Super Bowl, and I saw the most amazing Super Bowl halftime I think I have ever seen, and it was Prince, doing his thing, and then it started pouring rain, and he is playing Purple Rain while it is pouring rain, and he's got his guitar out, like this, and I think there was like streamers blowing up with shadows, his shadow on these giant streamers, and his guitar out. I mean, it was just mind blowing, and I had no clue what an amazing one performer, but guitarist the man was. He's like one of the best guitarists to ever live. So, I mean, Julian, are you going to do a guitar solo for us on this podcast? Are you ready for that kind of thing?
No, not today.
Julian, one thing that I found was really interesting is that everybody I think who's gone to see a tribute band, always wonders, like, when does that performer decide that they want to be a part of a tribute band, to another performer or whatnot. And this documentary kind of explores that, which I thought was really fascinating. But if you would like to, say a couple words to that as well, I think the audience would enjoy that.
As far as like when did it need to like do like an actual tribute?
Yeah, when it hits you and the joy you derive out of it.
Yeah, I mean, like years ago. I mean, I love all kind of facets of music and genres. And when the '80s were happening and Prince came out there, there was nobody like him, but the things he was doing and the music, the style, the fashion, the show, it intrigued me so much because I like that kind of energy coming from an artist or a group. And I started doing local shows with my band, and we were doing all kind of covers, and we started doing the Prince songs, and the Prince songs started being like a very exciting segment of the show, so much that I decided, like, wow, I should just do like more of these songs. And the next thing you know, it evolved into me being like doing more of a tribute to him. Because I actually liked, everything he did. As far as even for myself, I would prefer to like be that kind of artist. So I felt very connected to what Prince was doing. So I felt like, wow, this would be something really, really good to share with the people who either can't see Prince live or never seen Prince live. And I figured like, oh, this would be a good thing to kind of share with a crowd, you know. And it just became an amazing thing. And it taught me a lot of things as far as how to be an entertainer, be a versatile entertainer and play different styles of music and how to connect with the audience and how to engage with them and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, being in a tribute, I can see the passion, especially after when Prince died. It really showed me a lot of how passionate and connected people are to that artist. So,
Well,
you know, yeah, to this day, I just found it amazing to carry that kind of tradition on.
watching the documentary and hearing your story, I mean, one thing that you know I was just waiting for or wanting was to be able to see you perform, you know, and to see you like perform Prince's music. But then it occurred to me that you probably were not allowed to use Prince's music in this documentary and performance or whatnot. Melissa, why don't you talk a little bit about difficulties or hurdles?
Yeah, it wasn't so much that the music wasn't allowed. It's just that because of the copyrights and the publishing to use any of his music, especially like 10 or 15 seconds worth or something like that, then you know they'll kick in and start asking for fees, and it'd be a lot of money. So you know, when I talked to Melissa about that, I said it's going to cost a lot of money if we use any part of his music. So she invited me to this one of the several meetings that we had. You know, she had this it was like this artist loft. It was really cool. You walked in there, had like a room and a piano and a stage and all this stuff. And there was the piano. I just went over there and started messing around, and they were recording everything I did. And we actually used that music as the background for the documentary as it was being narrated.
How many people have commented on like how timely the theme of your documentary is, because it's really about how the power of music can be used to heal, and is that relevant, do you feel, today in
Yes, I think
2020?
it's actually more important now than it's ever been. You know, since this crisis has hit us several months ago. Um, I was pretty devastated as far as the rest of the entertainment industry, both music and film and anywhere else where you know music is one of the it's a, you know it's a universal language, and that at certain times of crisis in the world, music can be that very special comforting thing to comfort people and bring them together. You know, like they did it in Woodstock in 1969. They had a pandemic and they had all kind of stuff going on with the war and politics back then, and then Live Aid. You know, in 1985 when they brought all those amazing bands together to help another country out, and music was very powerful back then. You know, and I think right now it's very needed, you know, and I'm hoping that that they will allow us to at least kind of help with what's going on in the world with so many emotions going on with people feeling just overwhelmed with so much that has happened to their individual lives with the pandemic and the protesting and everything else that they've been so distracted that music can really bring people back together and put them in a different comforting place in their mind to deal with things in life, you know.
I was hoping the opportunity to document, Julian and Erotic City in the aftermath of Prince's death, because at that time, I mean, they were doing shows almost every night. They're wildly popular as it is, especially at that time. They were touring all around the country and performing. And I was hoping for me, it was going to help me really process, what was this grief and what had this artist meant to me and why was I feeling such a sense of loss? And through learning about Julian's story and his own journey of healing that he had experienced, it really taught me a lot about the power of music and I think creativity in general to connect us. And we're living in, 2016 was when Prince died, was the last presidential election. It was a very volatile, difficult year. And I'd say it's only got crazier since then. And I think we're very divided. It feels that way, at least. But if you go to an erotic city Prince tribute act, you look around the room and you've got people of every age, every background, just completely blissed out dancing to the music. And finding ways of creating those kinds of connections, I think, are going to be so vital for us as we go forward. We've definitely found that the movie, even though it's, it was filmed in 2016 after the loss of Prince, it seems to only gain more momentum and more interest. We've had so many people seeking meaning and really missing gathering for live music and missing the opportunity to kind of share their creative expressions or participate in others. So funnily enough, it seems even more relevant in 2020.
My filmmakers in the audience, I'd love to ask you about your journey as a documentarian, because documentary can also be a creative field that you get to use as a form of expression. And I'm sure that you do other things in life, besides, making a documentary. So maybe explain how you integrated that into your profession, your life, in deciding I'm going to take time to go do something that maybe isn't going to pay you to do it.
Yeah, that's a great question. And I am lucky enough to be a full-time filmmaker. With that said, I get hired. I do a lot of commissioned documentaries. So I get hired by a lot of companies around the world to tell stories for them. And I pinch myself every day that I get to do that for a living. With that said, it's often stories that other people want me to tell, or helping other people convey their messages. And I always feel it's essential to have a personal project on the go. So Nothing Compares was one of them for me, because I genuinely find that making documentaries is a way of entering other people's worlds and exploring subjects that I maybe don't know a lot about or want to know more about. I think that's hopefully translated onto the screen, so that when people view it, they're able to go along on the journey with you. And this was definitely an example. I really wanted to make this film because of something I was personally experiencing. And I actually think, as a filmmaker, especially as a documentarian, when you're thinking about your subjects, having that level of personal resonance and curiosity about a subject really translates on screen. And the films that I've been the most interested in making for myself are always the ones that people seem to appreciate watching the most too.
Why don't you tell me what is your favorite Prince song, and then also tell everybody, what you have on tap, what's going on next, where they can find you.
It's really, really hard to pick a favorite Prince song. But I think if I had to choose, it would probably be Raspberry Beret. That was one from my childhood that I used to dance around my living room to, when I don't even know how old I was at that point. And if you want to keep up with me, my production company is called Long Haul Films. I am somehow managing to shoot a documentary in the middle of this pandemic, which will hopefully be coming out in 2021. So yeah, if you're interested in my work, longhaulfilms.com, and hopefully lots more documentary projects coming soon.
My favorite Prince song is The Beautiful Ones. That song was featured in the movie Purple Rain. There was just something about that song that's so freaking mystical, and I've never heard anything like it. I mean, it starts out so beautiful on the piano and all that, and then it kind of rages at the end. He just turns into this powerful kind of rock ballad, and he's screaming out of his freaking lungs, and I just love the energy in that freaking song. It's my favorite to play at every show I do. And so in order to find Erotic City, yeah, I'm on Facebook, Erotic City Prince Tribute. So that's where most people can find me as far as where I'm doing my shows and contact me and stuff like that. So it's Erotic City Prince Tribute on Facebook.